Continuing onward from Paris, the Batman pursues his enemy, the monk, into Hungary. On a winding road to the Carpathian Mountains, he hijacks a speeding carriage using choking gas and kidnaps the woman inside. Traveling in his Batgyro, he takes this woman back to his hotel. The woman introduces herself as Dala. Batman has her sleep in the same room as his other guest, Bruce Wayne's fiancée, Julie Madison. In the middle of the night, Dala sleepwalks out of the room. Batman realizes that she has fresh blood on her lips. Dala snaps out of her trance and hits Batman with a statue, then escapes. Batman realizes that Dala is a vampire and she bit Julie. Batman chases Dala and makes her talk about the monk. Dala insists that she will only tell Batman about the monk if he promises to kill him, as she hates the monk too. Batman and Dala leave to pursue the monk. Batman tells Julie that she must stay and resist any psychic urge to return to the monk. As Batman approaches the village castle by air, the Batgyro is caught in a silver net and dragged into the castle. The monk hypnotically overpowers Batman and forces him to march to his doom. Dala suggests that the monk telepathically summon Julie to make his revenge against Batman perfect. Some time later, Julie arrives on foot, and the monk threatens to turn her into a werewolf, such as himself. Batman is lured into a pit of wolves that the monk summons from the forest. It is too deep for him to get out using his silk robe. The wolves attack, and Batman is able to subdue them with his choking gas. Finally, he escapes by using his batarang to throw the rope onto a pillar. The castle is asleep, and Batman checks that Julie is okay. Using a candle, he melts a silver statue into 2 silver bullets. Batman loads the silver bullets into the gun he carries with him at all times. He finds Dala and the monk sleeping in their coffins and shoots them both to death. The spell on Julie is broken, and they are able to safely return to America.
This is Jack. Welcome to Bat Signals. I'm here with my boss, Ryan.
Hello, hello. I think the last time we had read the last issue, it was a little while ago, so I was a bit fuzzy. Going back on it, thinking about everything that happened in the last one. It's a good continuation, I'd say. It finishes up the story as it should. It wasn't too eventful, though. Not much happened other than the few interactions he had at the very end. I don't think as much happened in this one than I did the last one, for sure.
They were combining as much of the Universal horror pantheon as they could. Mm-hmm. You had a gorilla again for Murder in the Rue Morgue with Bela Lugosi. You also had werewolves and vampires kind of mixed together here. The costume for the Mad Monk when Batman shot him with the silver bullet at the end is the costume that Henry Hull wore in Werewolf of London. That came out before this. It was actually Universal's first werewolf film before The Wolfman with Lon Chaney that everybody knows. Dala very much was reminiscent of Daughter of Dracula. Mixing the vampire and werewolf legend was pretty interesting to me. Gardner Fox was definitely going for the Halloween feel.
Yeah. You can see a lot of those themes is the introduction to the vampire, and then you have Batman. In newer stuff, it's like you always see the vampire and it can turn into a bat, or it has a lot of bats around it and stuff like that. So it's a big Halloween theme.
They were nodding to Batman's origin, which is definitely the vampire concept. That's one of the things. Of course, then there's Zorro and the Phantom and some other things, too. My first impression was that Bruce was not nearly as prepared for this. I think he was shook because it is a supernatural situation. he seemed to be dragged around by the plot. He sees Dala in her carriage. He just gets a feeling that he should kidnap her.
Yeah, I thought that was funny because he kind of just, as it looks in the beginning, he just abducts this random woman. He just kind of takes off with her, and he's like, I don't know who this is yet, but I'm going to find out. I don't know who yet, but I'm going to find out.
Then he puts her in with Julie Madison. Of course, she turns out to be a vampire and bites Julie Madison, knocks Bruce out. And so you're like, yeah, that wasn't the best thought out plan. It's a good thing he recovered by the end, though, and was able to use a candle to melt 2 silver statues into silver bullets.
That is the hottest candle in the history of mankind.
I wonder if that was a magic candle or if he added phosphorescence to it. I mean, they don't really tell you.
Like, he just randomly picks up this candle, grabs the silver statue, and was like, here we go, this'll work. He couldn't have used, like, a bat torch or something like that. He had to use a candle.
Bruce was not as prepared this time as he normally is.
Yeah.
You pointed out when we read the story that this is the first time he uses a bat rope. The monk turns into a werewolf, calls a bunch of wolves from outside, drops Bruce in a pit, and the wolves are sicked on him. The way he gets out is he uses the batarang, but he's got a rope tied to the back of it. Bat climbs out away from the wolves.
Yeah, so it's like I mentioned, it was like the first idea or like first iteration of his trusty grapple that he uses very often. That was cool. The thought of it was nice. He was definitely behind on everything. He knocks out the wolves, and he's like, okay, I need to get out of this pit before they wake up. Otherwise, it's over. You're Batman. Is it really that over if you don't get out in time before these wolves wake up? You got to figure out something.
Here he's improvising throughout the whole thing. Most of the time when we see him, he's got the weapons and such on hand.
Yeah.
You know, he goes into a battle with Mr. Freeze or with Bane or with the Joker or with the Penguin ready for what they do. Here, it's just whatever's handy, let me get it together.
Yeah.
The writing intends him to be off his game.
At least that's what I hope it is. And it's not just like, oh, I kind of needed to finish this story up real quick before the issue comes out. Let me, just let me write these things really quickly.
So let's compare the monk here to Dr. Death. You had the 2-part story with Dr. Death, and now you have the 2-part story with the monk. They're 2 very different things. This is definitely a riff on the Universal movie monsters. Dr. Death himself was a riff on the Universal movie monsters, but the story wasn't necessarily.
Okay. As you mentioned it, I think off the rip, I kind of just like the other one better, Dr. Death. I'd say it's got a bit more personality to it. He does a lot more. I feel like, yeah, the writing is a bit better in that one. You have more story beats and things that like progress the story. Even Dr. Death had the traps for him, yeah?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you even have stuff like that kind of tests Batman a little more. I definitely like that story a bit more than this one.
Well, one thing we can say is that on our kill count, this is the reason why we're doing these stories,
Yeah.
There is none. Batman doesn't kill anyone. You can't kill a werewolf or a vampire because they're already dead. He does shoot them.
We can get this as like an elimination, though. He gets rid of them.
He does get rid of them, yes. He doesn't try to jail them or anything.
Yeah.
Now, I don't think he doesn't kill the wolves or the gorilla either, does he? I mean,
No.
he doesn't really kill anyone. This is an off day for him.
Yeah, he doesn't get any kills. He doesn't have his stuff handy and prepared. He's just completely off day for Batman.
We're going to yay or nay on... Now, we already talked about the monk. Yay or nay last time. So let's yay or nay on his henchman, the vampiric Dala. What did you think of Dala? Yay or nay on Dala?
I think I'd have to give her, for what she does and the way she kind of does her little progressions in her story, I'd say we'll give her a light yay. Just because I do like the idea of a vampire. I feel like they probably could have done more with her, especially with what they had here. But, it is what it is. I'll give it a light yay.
They didn't have a large page count, and having 2 monsters involved.
Yeah.
The story really does revolve around Bruce's desperation, I would say, throughout the story. But for what Dala has, I thought she was a yay. Also, I like the connection with Dracula's daughter. I don't know if you've seen that film, but she clearly is supposed to be. I did like the fact that she kept, just as you have with a vampire, let's say she switches very easily. Kidnaps her, then she bites Julie Madison, and then she tries to get away. She knocks him with a vase or whatever and tries to get away. And then he grabs her and he's like, you're going to show me where the monk is. And she's like, only if you kill him. So she's stabbing the monk in the back at the same time.
Yeah.
And then as soon as she gets a chance, she stabs Bruce in the back. She's not trustworthy at all.
She's just playing the winning side here.
Whoever's going to take the bout, she's going to be there.
Yeah.
I really, for that aspect, I would give her a yay. It would have been interesting to see her back. Again, I don't think we do. The monk comes back, but I don't think Dala comes back. And we probably will look at that monk story later on because it is really good and it's definitely another Halloween story. Until next
Atomic batteries to power. Turbines to speed.
Roger. Ready to move out.